my old MacBook Pro to run this, so we'll see what happens.
Are you ejecting us out of the live?
Don't want to do
like
that
you did
again.
with Dave Osler?
That was so bad. Let's see if we're getting anybody yet. Let's see here. All right. Okay, we're getting some folks into the stream already. If you are catching this live show after it's already aired, make sure you check the comments section or description below if you are looking for some show notes to kind of get you some guidance on what's going on with the show. So thank you for joining us this evening. And my partner in crime this evening, as usual, is Jason Vong. Jason, say hi.
What is up? Chris Imamura says, best show on Monday night. Wow.
Wow. Putting way too much pressure on us, Chris.
Seriously. We're doing
too much pressure. Too much pressure, man. Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are having a good time every Monday night with us.
Yeah. Definitely gonna have to try and enjoy this one because there's not a whole lot going on. We're just trying to make something out of nothing. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. All the time.
Daru's video says, what in the world? I literally Googled A7000 and this was the first thing that popped up. It's actually live. Wow. I hope
Danny,
we
don't
don't
know this SEO.
Oh, shoot.
Spoiler alert, A7000 does not exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist yet. It doesn't exist yet.
It doesn't exist yet.
Oh, and by the way, what is that?
A7000, bro.
We are going to start the show in about 15 minutes. Right now, we're in the pre-show mode right now. Preston says, what's up, fellas? Orlando says, hello. George Daniel says, what's up, guys?
What's up?
Tatsu Miyagawa is asking, Jason, how was the 24 millimeters on the Zhiyun Crane?
Beast. Just shot some stuff with it today. Awesome.
Let's see. Eric Spacuzza, my girlfriend's picking up my Weeble, and by Weeble I mean gimbal. That's great, Eric. JF Film saying, so should I sell my Alpha 6500? Unless you have a camera to use in the meantime, I wouldn't do it right now, actually. Amir Khan saying hello from Denmark. Currently 3:45 a.m. Thank you for joining us so early in the morning. Hero Shot says, screw the A7000. I'm still loving my A6000. It's still a good camera to use.
Still good.
Alex Duday, I currently own the Sony A6000. Would you buy the Alpha 6300 or the 10-18 or the 18-135? Wow, that's a lot of ors. Depends on what you do. If you're vlogging, 10-18 is good. If you want a general purpose photography lens, 18-135 is good.
Cool.
Owen Stevens says, can I use the Flashpoint 600 Moonlight with the Godox trigger? Good sale on Adorama. I'm assuming the monolight with the Godox trigger, right?
Yeah, it should work. It should work. It's just rebranded.
Should work. It's the same system. Booming Visuals.
The internals are the same.
What's up from Savannah, GA, Georgia? I'm hoping we're getting these states right, man. People keep getting something.
You're the teacher, Danny. There should be a map in your room.
Well, I'm not a U.S. history teacher. All right. Visitando, Puerto Rico. Hi from Puerto Rico. Namam Imena saying Sony A6000 or the Nikon D5300. High ISO performance. I'm not quite sure. I would give it to the A6000 just because I'm biased. Preston Osborne. Hey, speaking of the Crane 2, bought one on a crazy sale with a follow focus, and it will not balance. What are you balancing on it, Preston? That's the question.
Yes.
Ilya Borzov, what do you know about the A7000 in terms of specs? We're going to talk a little bit about it when the show gets going.
Yep.
I'm the Brown. Hello, cruel world of camera fanboys. Hi to you too, I'm the Brown.
We're not that cruel, are we?
Robert McDaniel, compressed or uncompressed on the A7 III. Jason, what do you do?
I don't know. Actually compressed.
Yeah, me too. I'm I don't need the uncompressed stuff. By the way, we're still in pre-show mode. The show is going to start in about 12 minutes. That's where we're going to go with it. Pinoy Trouble got the A7R3 and the A6500 bodies, got the 24G Master, but it's asking sell and get the Sigma 16 to be more cost effective? Question mark. LOL.
Yeah, you could do that, but really 2 different lenses.
In terms of the field of view, they are technically different. The way they're going to render out the depth of field, but that's really up to you. I mean, if you're doing video,
it's not a big deal.
If it's video, Sigma 16, I would say will do okay. That's my opinion. Nope. Doctor Exclusive, hey, was dope meeting you guys in person at Samy's event. Awesome. I was glad to meet you too, man.
Danny was a special guest.
I like how I got thrown in there. It's like, hey, we got an open seat over here. Yeah. Jason saying Jason's looking like a potato mode today. That is strange. I don't know how
I'm looking in potato mode.
How is that possible?
I thought he said I look like potato jet today.
Have you met him yet or no?
No, not yet.
You need to meet him one day. That'd be pretty. It'll be really hilarious.
I'll just upload a video from his channel, and you should just upload my video on his channel and just throw everybody off.
When you guys meet, like the universes will collide and all YouTube will break down.
Yeah.
It'd be funny though. I mean, his audience will start saying like, "Hey, are you Potato Jet?" And they're asking, "Are you Jason Vong? Are you Potato Jet?" Let's see here. Tatsu Miyagawa is asking, do you reckon the A7000 will have 4K 60p? We'll talk more about that soon. DTom2444 says, hey guys, got to meet you both at B Alpha event on Saturday. Jason's gimbal game is on point.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job, Jason.
Thank you. There was
and everyone helping out.
I don't know which day that you came for the gimbal walk, but the second day was so much better. I think Vivian actually ran the class way better than I did because I heard everybody who had the gimbal got to work with one of the models and they got some killer shots.
Oh,
it was like I uploaded it onto the Instagram. I was like, wow, I had did not plan for some of these awesome shots. You know what I'm saying? So good job, Vivian.
Yeah, it was really good, man. Everyone looked like they were really into it. Yeah. Nimam Imena, hello from Belgrade, Serbia. 3:48 a.m. over there. Nice.
Hello.
Ilya Borisov, Moza Air 2 or the DJI Ronin S?
Neither. I don't know. I have not played with the Moza Air 2.
Yeah, I haven't used it either. That's like a Momentum Productions question, or
that's a Tola Visuals.
Yeah, Tola Visuals, Allie. That's she's Gimbo.
Yeah, ask the Tola Visuals.
Preston Osborne's asking A7R3 with a 3514. What is this? And A7 350. Is it a question?
You're too early for new gear.
Yeah, we haven't got new gear yet. Let's see here. Cody Keepa. Hey, fellows from New Zealand. Jason, does the new Zhiyun Focus servo work on the Crane 2? Does the Zhiyun Focus servo work on the Crane 2?
There's Crane 2 has its own servo focus, so you should just get that one. I don't know if the new one mounts the same way.
Eli's following up from our conversation last time. He says he just joined the B&H EDU program. He says he's in high school and he signed up with no problem. Might need to finally get the A7 Mark III. That's great. I'm glad it worked out, dude.
There we go.
Just got to find $1,800, Eli.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Villalta 98 asking both of us at this. Everyone is comparing the Canon EOS R to the Sony A7 Mark III, but they forget the Canon has a 30 megapixel sensor compared to the Sony A7 III. And we will talk more about that a little bit towards the meat of the show. Let's see. Simran Sani is asking, Jason, so I just got the Alpha 6500 for traveling purposes. What lens would you recommend? It's looking at the Sigma 16 or the Sigma 30.
There you go. You answer your own question, man. Those are the two lenses.
I wonder if it's an or an and. I'm not sure.
Oh, or an
Um,
and. Yeah,
I
I mean,
would,
and yeah.
I would say maybe consider the 18 to 135, and maybe throw in one of those primes. You pick one. That's what I would say. It's just that the price of the 18 to 135 Sony kit lens is not very inexpensive anymore. It's like there's no sale. I wouldn't pay 600 for it. That's my opinion on that. Let's see here, folks. We are probably about 5 minutes away from it starting. EC Films Weddings asking, are you guys going to WPPI?
Yes.
Jason, are you looking to go?
I am looking to go back. Are you going?
Yeah, I'm probably. I went there last time, right?
Yeah, that's when they announced the A7 III.
Yes, that was the A7 III. Yeah, I'm probably like 90% sure.
Yeah, we got to get that Luxor room again with the bathtub. Yeah, that looked really good.
The really good internet. That's what we're after.
Yeah. We have to stay on the bottom floor for the good internet.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Let's see here. There's a lot of RIPs for Stanley. I think Stanley passed away today, I believe.
Yeah. Very, very sad.
Carson Chung's asking, when will Potato Jet be on the show? He's already here. He's right in front of us, guys.
What's up? Potato Jet, man. What are you talking about? It's always a Potato Jet here.
That'd be cool, though. It'd be interesting. We'll see. It's possible.
We'll just have all the Asians in the show. Get Sydney Youngs in.
Eli's saying Danny's stream's starting to look better than Jason's. Back I don't know why my stream doesn't look like Potato. It doesn't. I guess my jetpack's kicking in today. That's good.
I guess my internet's doing pretty bad right now. I don't know. No clue. Can you guys hear me all right at least?
Yeah, audio is most important. I'm the Brown saying, is the Sony 24 f1.4 worth $500 more than the Sigma for an extreme hobbyist?
Yes.
I think it would be. It's a tough one. I'm the Brown.
It's so much lighter and so much smaller. It's worth it in my opinion.
Jay Milan's asking, what's the best PC laptop for editing? Don't want to buy a MacBook Pro. Right now, some good ones to consider. It's like a Dell XPS 15 line. It has like, they got the 4-core and they also got 6-core options out there now. But you definitely want a discrete GPU like a GTX 1050, 1050 Ti, or the 1060. There's a lot of new laptops with those specs. So make sure it's at least quad-core or maybe 6-core, minimum 16 gigs of RAM, and maybe a pretty decent 512 to 1 terabyte SSD inside of the laptop. Those are the settings that I would look for if you're looking for an editing laptop today. AB Positive Bulldog saying, sup guys, nice seeing you this weekend. Good to see you there. I know he went out and bought some paper just so he would have something to say for new gear today. Dave Sincere, what's going on, man? What's going on? Chris Imamura, did you guys switch cameras for your live tonight? Danny looks good and Jason's looking potato.
Yeah.
Jason's helping keeping the potato thing going for us, guys. Come on now. You know how this goes.
I'm giving Danny my good internet.
He's throwing that internet towards me.
Did I look potato before we went live, or I just suddenly went potato?
I don't know. I really don't know. It looked fine.
I'm sure you would have said something if I looked terrible in the beginning, right?
Yeah, it's just slight potato a little bit on your end. Uh-oh. All right, Rang, we're going to start soon, guys, so just hang tight in a couple of minutes here. Rangul Chandru, Sony 50 f1.8 or the Sigma 31.4 for the A6000. I say the Sigma 31.4. I prefer a wider lens on an APS-C.
Same.
Crawfish Brainsuckers asking, what are the best cameras to take pictures with? The EOS R, the A7 III, or the Nikon Z6? Man, that is a lot.
Kodak Kodak.
Instax, Fuji Instax camera. Let's see here. As far as taking pictures, I think they all take good pictures, actually, Crawfish Brainsucker. I haven't had a chance to use the Z6, but I now have used the EOS R and the A7 III, so I can speak on those two. I still think the A7 III, in terms of just photography capabilities, the A7 III is the one on top. I'm quick. I haven't used the Z6, although I am curious to try that one out. So that could be good. I don't know yet. Tatsu Miyagawa's Tatsu Miyagawa saying Jason Jet. That's her new name, Jason Jet.
Thank you.
I'm the Brown dropping $9.99. He says, I rented the Sigma 24 1.4 and I loved it, but I will defer to your wisdom. Thanks.
I mean, the Sigma is a sweet lens. It's just weight-wise and everything.
Yeah,
I think that at Animax. No, wait, that was after.
Did you get the 24 over there? Did you have the 24 Sigma?
I had the 24. I played with the 24. I played with the 2024 and the 135 at the same time. They're all great lenses. It's just 20 and the 24. It's just 24 is not bad, but
I still say the issue is that the issue is the connection to the actual Sony camera. The compatibility is good, but it's not native performance. But if it's working, I mean, I think it's worth sticking with the Sigma if it's doing exactly what you need it to do on your camera body. But if you want like the versatility of a lighter lens, the Sony one looks really good in terms of just what it offers. All right, folks, it's 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Welcome to the Monday live show. I have no idea why you're here, but thank you for joining myself, aka That One Camera Guy, as well as the one and only Jason Vong, aka Jason Jet, aka Can't Go Wrong with Jason Vong. Jason, say hi.
How's it going? It's quite a title right there.
Welcome to the Potato Live Stream Podcast.
No. It's only potato on my end, apparently.
Well, so as long as one's potato, it's going to be a very interesting show. So the title is kind of, I just threw it out there. There's rumors as far as the A7000 coming out, as far as announcement potentially by this Christmas, A7S3 early in 2019. And as far as another headlining thing is my experience using the Canon EOS R. I've had a very interesting time with it, having tried it out, and I'm glad I didn't buy it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in this show. So, but usually when we start our show this evening, we usually start off with hashtag new gear. So if you would love to feature or let us share one of the things that you guys picked up recently in the last week or two, leave it down below in the chat with the hashtag new gear, and we'll try to read them off as they go through. If there's a lot of them, we might not get to all of them, but we will definitely try to promote Jason and I. So Jason, our gas lord, what have you picked up?
Okay, I actually have something this time. So over the weekend, there's the whole Samys event, right? And we'll probably talk a little about that when we recap the event. But they were running some pretty damn sweet deal when they're right over there. And I actually got another A7 III.
Oh, this guy.
Oh man. Another A7 III because I needed one. Because every time I do any sort of what happened?
Keep going.
I'm good. Okay, I'm good. Okay, I thought I connected. Because like every time we do any sort of comparison test, Danny, it's just like I never have, a same camera body. So then the autofocus tests aren't, apples to apples. So I gotta like get another A7 III body to run all these like camera tests. I figured to spend the extra dough to get like a second A7 III body. So they're finally back in stock, and Sammy was running a deal on it. So I picked one up. On attached to it, I don't know if you guys can see it.
Oh my!
No, it's gone. I put it too close, but it's the 24 1.4 G Master. I didn't buy it. I got it on loaner to review. To do a follow-up review on the 24 and to compare it with the Bodice 25. So that's a set right there. And this just came in, the Bodice 40. I didn't buy this. This is also for review purposes too. So I have now the 40 and the 24 to test out.
Nice. Very
I
nice.
think that's it. Did I find anything else?
So since you just purchased the A7 Mark III, the A7S III is going to come out tomorrow. Am I correct on that? Is that how that works?
I
So
don't think so.
so so A7S III, I'm calling it right now, will probably be announced tomorrow since Jason just recently picked up the A7 III, second A7 III. But
that means I gotta buy two A7S3s now.
damn it. Damn it. No, it's a good point though, because with review situations, having the same camera, because people give reviewers such a hard time all the time when they don't have the same camera, same autofocus setup. And I know Jason, you had some issues with that at some point, right?
Yeah, I was testing out the Tamron 2075 and 2470 over the summer, and I had one on the A7R III and one on the A7 III. And I was like, okay, guys, we're just checking out the autofocus performance. We're gonna see how well the Tamron does. And people are like, well, you didn't really test it out on two A7 III, so it doesn't count. This review is trash. I was like, really? I mean, like, the point was the 20 to 75 works. I forgot if it worked well or not, but yeah. Might as well just have two systems so people
No, it makes sense. You do a lot of comparative reviews, so it makes a lot of sense to have that set up. So that's good.
And before that, I would have to rely on Danny to like come visit me so I can borrow his A7 III, but Danny's too busy now. Doesn't come down to LA anymore, trying to avoid the fire here. So
you guys need to see Jason in action when he actually puts a video together, and you have to give him some props. He takes it very seriously. I've helped Jason shoot a video, and he takes it really seriously, and that's the reason for his current success right now. There's times when I'm like, man, Jason, that's good enough. Jason's like, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And I even remember, I think when you were doing like when he was doing a thumbnail photo, Jason is really, really serious about that. Like he takes this thumbnail photo. It's pretty
has to be captivating, Danny. Has to be
Yeah. So yeah, if you've ever gotten that opportunity to see him in action for it, it's interesting. He takes it seriously, and I appreciate that, and I think a lot of your viewers do appreciate that too. I just don't know if they know the amount of work that goes behind the scenes. So.
Oh, Danny's pretty serious too. He would do a wall test right outside my house. And he would just sit there and just click, 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 click away. I'm like, you don't have to do all of the apertures, Danny. He was like, I have to do all of them.
It's so frustrating, and I don't even have a good system set up. So when I'm doing the wall test, I'm like, what if it's a little off? Like, what if the lens is tilted slightly this way, and I'm testing it, and then it can completely botches the test. It's so nerve wracking, man. I don't even know.
He would do it all over again.
Sadly. All right, so let's see here. As far as my new gear, so this is finally, and we talked about it last time I purchased it. It's the Canon EOS M50. So this is the first non-Canon camera, first non-Sony camera I've had in a really long time. It's the EOS M50. Got it for about $450 US on eBay, gray market, and then I picked up the 11 to 22 also as well. I was thinking about just adapting a 10 to 18, but I was able to get a good deal on the 11 to 22 as well. So we'll see how it goes. This is kind of a stopgap camera between the A6500 and when another Sony camera comes out. But like I said, I really like Canon's ecosystem on it. But there's one thing I really hate about this, Jason. I don't know. It doesn't show your audio levels while you're recording. It's the stupidest thing. It doesn't show your audio levels while you're recording. It's so stupid. And the Canon 80D, which I have for my classroom, my students use Canon 80Ds, as well as some Nikon cameras. It shows it. So I don't know if you'll see it on there or not, but on the back here, it shows you your audio settings, your audio levels on the back there. But when you can see them peaking, right? But when you're recording video, so let's say I am trying to record video. Let's see here, right there. And then this is the regular view of when I am gonna record video, if it'll even focus here. And I assume you ran
through all the settings trying to find audio display level, because like the Sony cameras, you have to do that. Well, you don't have to, but if it gets turned off, you have to go to display audio level in your option or something like that.
Like I knew this already when I got the EOS M50 that I wasn't going to display the audio levels while I was recording.
Okay.
I knew that, but what I didn't know, and I guess it's my fault too, that I can't change the audio levels once I'm recording. But the 80D does it just fine. And the Canon 80D, you can see it, you can change the levels and all that good stuff. And I was like, what the heck? It's such an easy fix on Canon side, but they don't have it. I mean, I've worked with the 60D before a while back. It's not a big deal. I just picked it up as kind of like a vlogging camera setup and quick tutorial setup when I was recording some B-roll or something like that. Or I'm talking in front of the camera. So it's not a huge deal for me. But I just thought it was funny that they couldn't even implement that. The only way to monitor audio is if you connect your phone to the camera, actually, you'll be able to see your audio levels. It's weird. If you connect your phone to the camera, it'll show your audio levels, but it won't show it on the actual camera. Really stupid. So
feature coming to the M50 Mark II.
Exactly. That's what I figured. But yeah, and then speaking of all that, the Canon EOS R, which I got in as a rental from lensrental.com. This is, yeah, definitely a very interesting camera. And we'll talk more about it later. It's part of our topics this evening. And I have some interesting thoughts on it. There's some good things about it and some bad things about it. But again, like I said, I'm glad I didn't actually purchase the camera. So, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and check out. I think that's everything with hashtag New Gear on my end. So,
cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Let's see here.
I see one already. Eric Spikuza, hashtag New Gear, the Weeble app. Very nice.
Let's see. Creative Films, New Gear, 2017 spec'd out 27-inch iMac.
Nice. Magoo77, I ordered the 56mm 1.4 last Friday, and I'm looking forward to it. Very nice.
Me too. I'm very curious to see on how well that lens performs. So we'll see how that works out.
Did you see some of those images that came out on Sony Alpha Rumor? That little pouch for the lenses, for the Sigma lenses?
Yeah, I saw that. And
what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's unnecessary. But I think they're going to sell it as a kit, right? I think the goal is to eventually sell it as a pack. So I figured they're going to save space by just having one bag for it.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't get it unless it was bundled already. So I think, you don't really need it unless you don't have, unless you're using it to transport in another case. But for the most part, if you have a little camera bag, like a Peak Design sling, you don't really need something like that to hold those three lenses.
I think it's not a bad idea. Like, for example, if you have your Peak Design bag, like the Peak Design backpack, because there's like a lot of empty spacing in there. You just have that one long slender case, just shove it in there. So I can see some benefits in some cases. So we'll see. Tatsu Miyagawa, New Gear, Sony A7 III, the 2470. I don't know which one. That Mavic Pro 2.
Piku Jr. Hashtag New Gear 16mm f1.4 for my 6300.
That's very nice. Speaking of Piku, did you see the new trailer for Pokemon from Warner Brothers?
Oh my God, the one with Ryan Reynolds. Okay, so I knew they were going to make a Detective Pikachu movie, except when the teaser art came out. It looks like, a Pokemon Snap animated sort of movie, and he would just dub the thing from the Japan release. But this seems like a whole new movie, an entirely animated movie with American cast.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks cool.
It looks good.
It just throws me off. It just threw me off. That's the only thing.
Sorry to everybody about the random tangent there, but yeah, if you haven't seen the trailer for that, it's worth checking out.
How did you get Piku Jr. from Pikachu to
Pikachu?
Ryan Reynolds live action.
Jim Penn, New Gear Pro Master Still Life Studio 2.0 and a 24x24 inch and Under Armour base layer number 4.
Jason iPad Pro 11-inch and Jason Vong's Lightroom presets for $399.
Wait,
Steve, you got ripped off, man.
Wait, what? Jason Vong's got Lightroom presets for $399? What's going on here?
Yeah, no, my Lightroom preset is $599.99.
MJ
You got
Adams.
the pirated copy.
MJ Adams New Gear Peak Design Everyday Backpack. Ooh.
Lot of potato jokes going on. I apologize for the internet, guys. I have no idea what's going on. It's quite frankly, it's too late for me to fix it. So hopefully the audio sounds good. That's the important thing.
Let me eject Jason from the stream, and it might fix.
Maybe that would be better.
I just realized Potato Jet has potato in his name.
Yeah,
I didn't realize the connection with the potato. Oh my god! All right,
there you go. Potato chips. Alejandro Guzman, New Gear, a full frame coffee maker with 4K 120 frames per second because it takes forever to brew, but it's amazing.
What the heck,
GE
man?
really coming in strong with that full frame coffee maker.
Casper 711024 hashtag Area 51 desktop. Nice. MJ Adams loving my 7200 F4 Pellinor.
Yeah.
Pellinor. Now there's somebody named Pellinor 982002. What is this inception going on here? Sony 16 to 35 F4 and the Sony 7200 F4.
Yeah. KC Collective, New Gear Rode NT USB and a DIY sound booth for voiceover. Very nice. That's what we're using right now. Hopefully it sounds good.
Let's see here.
Rodell photo, mashed potato Monday. That does sound pretty good right now. 80 positive Bulldog. New Gear. Blue Jean, a Savage Paper. Boom. Bought at Samy's Camera.
We all saw him get it. He just turned around, walked over to the counter, and he had something in his hands.
You should have picked up an A7 III like I did, buddy.
Alan Andrews, New Gear, the Arsenal finally came in. Haven't used it yet. Not quite sure on that.
Arsenal?
Yeah.
Unless you're talking about the A7 III Arsenal. Let us know what's in the Arsenal kit.
I know we're getting some questions. We're going to hold off on those probably towards the end of the show, guys. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Jim Penn, reboot your router daily. Well, Danny said I looked good earlier. He should have told me sooner.
What the?
I didn't look like a potato.
JP Cassiano, New Gear 90mm f2.8 macro from the Samys event this weekend. Got me a sweet deal. That's a really good lens. Nice. I like that lens.
Nice.
Mr. Purple. Okay, we got to win on that A7000 discussion here, guys. Let's see.
Ready whenever you are, Danny.
Oh, I think that's it. I think we finally got through most of them. Sorry if we didn't catch one of your New Gears, but let's go ahead and jump into the meat and potatoes, quite literally, of the show. But before we dive into that, we're going to go ahead and do a quick recap of Samy's Camera / B Alpha Sony event. Jason Vong and Vivian were actually presenters for a couple of classes there. There were some other Sony folks there as well. So Jason, what was it all about? What was this whole thing going on at Samy's Camera?
Yeah, so I think every year Samy's and Sony do something like this, like put together a lot of free workshops for locals to come out and just play with cameras, play with lenses. And it's really awesome. It's actually much bigger this year compared to last year. So Danny's been to several of my talks. But this year, I'm pretty sure you've noticed we have like several floors of presenting and workshops going on. So you got people like Manny Ortiz, Francisco Hernandez, Scott Robert Lim, just kind of going over their workflow on how to take photos. Myself in particular, I focus a lot more on the video aspect of the Sony cameras. And there were a lot of models, a lot of shooting station going on. Manny and Francisco obviously got their photo walks. I think Mark Weisberg also has his own little set that people were able to partake to do a little bit of real estate photography. I had a little gimbal walk by the alley. And yeah, it's just awesome. I mean, like a lot of people who showed up, especially early in the AM, got some extra special sweet discount with their camera gear. And people who just showed up till the very end walked out with a lot of cool free prizes. Some included the 50 1.8, the 85 1.8, and on the very last day we gave out a Sony A7 III. So a jam-packed full of events and stuff to do, and it's just a whole lot of fun. Whole lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely make it out to those when you can. Just a heads up, actually, there's going to be a San Diego B Alpha event in January. So
January is December.
No, I think it's January 24th. Like I was looking at it, I think it's a Thursday.
Ooh,
so
all right.
Yeah, so if you, I think I'm going to try to go to that. But if you are in that area, consider looking up the Sony B Alpha event in San Diego. I think there's one in Tennessee happening this Saturday. I got an email for it. Oh, Nashville, Tennessee. And I was just like, no, I can't. It's just a little too late to fly out to that. But yeah,
anybody who's watching right now in Nashville, you need to go to B Alpha. So
yeah,
let us know if you're in the chat.
Yeah, if you're a Sony shooter, it's worth checking out. They really set it up nicely. A lot of free stuff and a lot of shooting opportunities. So
even if you don't shoot, just go off the free food, because they brought out like 4 food trucks 2 weeks ago at the B Alpha event.
There you go.
Oh, sorry, Danny, you missed that. Danny, come on, should have for the food at least.
I know, man. I know. All right, that's out of the way. Let's go ahead and start going over some of the news topics and rumors that everyone's here for. Let's hammer them out. First off, just want to let you know the Tamron 28-75 is going to be back in stock at B&H Photo. So if you've been trying to get a Tamron 28-75, I have some links down in the description below. If you want to support the channel, you can go ahead and pick it up that way. But it seems as if you pre-order it today, it looks like they'll be shipping it out tomorrow. And also the Sony 24 1.4 looks like it's going to be back in stock as well in the next day or two. So if you are interested, it's a great lens. And after the firmware update, it's much better now. It's much better now. So
Danny, did they still not ask for it back yet?
Oh no, I got to send this back. Right, this is from Tamron.
Yeah, so they haven't asked for it back yet.
Oh, they have.
Oh, okay. I was like, dang, dude, I should have said something and get a free lens after that.
It's not a free lens, man. It's got to go back. All right, let's see here. Sony. So let's go over this. The Sony A7000 announcement. So this was posted up on Sony Off Rumors, where we typically get all our rumor information from.
Hold on, Tanny. It's not an announcement. It is not an announcement.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
It's just a rumor. It's a rumor that there may potentially be an announcement before Christmas.
Jason, what do you know that we don't know? All right, so let's just bank on an announcement sometime by Christmas time frame. But it really is still a rumor. But speculation looks like we might see something. But the sad thing about it is we've been saying this over and over the last few months. And Sony hasn't done any reaction towards it other than what people have interviewed and asked Sony management about it. So lately, we've had people ask whether or not they're giving up on their APS-C line, but it seems as though Sony says they're not, and they're looking more at a pro-oriented APS-C camera from some of the interviews that have come from them in the last month or so. But let's just go ahead and dive into, again, what we can expect to see. So again, the Sony this mythical camera that doesn't exist yet in people's hands. Maybe it does. We don't know. We're looking at a centered EVF. I think you guys have heard that one before. Potentially like a Sony A7 body-like. Mini A9 is kind of what it's being touted as, which I think makes a lot of sense. 4K 60p is rumored to come around with that, and as well as an updated EVF. And in addition to that, 20 frames per second, very similar to what the A9 would be offering. And I'm guessing it's going to have something similar to the anti-distortion shutter, where you're not going to see any weird lag while you're taking pictures with it. So it definitely would live up to being a mini A9 as far as the camera is concerned. And a last thing I wanted to point out about that is I'm hoping that if they do take their time with it, that they try to compete with the Fuji X-T3 that just came out recently. It's a very interesting camera. I am interested to go ahead and test that camera out as well. But this new Sony A7000, potentially, I'm really hoping Sony tries to knock it out with it. So, Jason, we've talked about this camera before. What are your thoughts on it?
Definitely getting it. I think I mentioned it in one of my videos too, or even a lot of our live shows.
Every live show
Hey,
has.
we talked about this, right? When the 6500 came, look, Danny, when you had 6500, was that like your daily driver almost before the A9?
It was
Obviously,
funny. I
was it
had the
almost like your
six.
daily driver?
I had the 6500 and the A7R II, and I gravitated towards the 6500. Obviously, while I was shooting sports, it was my go-to. It's my go-to
Right.
for a lot.
What was the appeal for you for the 6500?
The buffer. The buffer was the biggest change. The
Yeah.
A6300's buffer wasn't very good, and as soon as the A6500 came out, the buffer expanded, and I was able to fire off a much larger burst of raw files, especially for
Yeah.
sports. So that, for me personally, that's what was a big deal. The stabilization wasn't necessarily the biggest factor for me, but it was definitely the buffer for me personally.
So for you, you're coming in at like a photography angle for the 6500, and you felt like it was worth it for you for shooting sports, right? For
Mm-hmm.
me, I love the video aspect of the A6500, even though I also had the A7R2, had all the full frame look. I always, like you said, gravitated over to the 6500 because it shot the videos slightly better. It had 120 frames per second on that
Mm-hmm.
camera. Overall, it was a very well-rounded APS-C camera, and I bought a whole bunch of APS-C lenses for it as well. And it's just the amount of space that it took up whenever we went traveling. It just doesn't take up that much, and it
Mm-hmm.
was pretty much our de facto gimbal lens for video for weddings, especially because it was just so lightweight, and it paired up very nicely with the stabilizers like the Crane and the Crane V2 and the Crane Plus. So really solid camera for video. And I could just imagine if the A7000 or whatever it's called coming out to just really steal me away again from the full frame cameras. If it has that 4K 60, I am totally on board. And if they decide to like increase the body size just a little bit, just so it can use the newer Sony, what is it, FZ100 batteries, I'm all
Yeah.
for it as well. Going for that smaller body, smaller profile with that 4K 60, that would really drive me away from shooting with
Do
a
you
iPhone 3.
how important is it for you, and even for those of you in the chat, that it keeps a very similar form factor to the current A6000 line? Is it Would you be okay if it jumped over to an A7 APS-C body? Or is the form factor the most important aspect of that camera system for you guys out there? And also a question for Jason there. Or would you, like you said, Jason, had just a slight increase in size, which they have had. The cameras slowly have gotten a little bit thicker over the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of um, Sony's not afraid, and I think a lot of camera manufacturers aren't afraid to make the camera bodies bigger because there are certain groups of people that would prefer a bigger grip to hold, or for the convenience of it using a bigger battery, it's not going to be a big deal. But I think a big appeal about the A6000 series is because of the size.
Mm-hmm.
But if it comes down to it, if they have to use a similar body to a full frame A7 III just to put out a 4K 60 and a bigger battery, I don't mind it. As long as you give me that 4K 60, I'm going to be very happy with it.
And we've talked about this again before in the past, but how much is that flip out screen to you? Is it a deal breaker?
No, it's not going to be a deal breaker for me. I also don't, I'm not holding my breath for a flip screen. I just, if they come out with one, I'll be surprised and I'll be happy with it, of course. But if they don't have a flip out screen, I'm not going to, raise a pitchfork or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's see what some people mentioned. Jason Vong video quality. They keep mentioning the video quality.
I'm sorry. I am sorry for the video quality.
It's weird. I don't know. It's probably because of me that's causing that. Dave Sincere says IBIS was the biggest reason for me to get the 6500. That was a big one.
Yes.
Salman AKB saying Sony was left behind by all the other manufacturers at Photokina, and that's why they held their cameras back. That's his opinion there. It could be very well, and it seems to be kind of the case.
What do you mean by left behind?
In terms of, I guess they're saying that the Sony cameras were really good. That they didn't.
Okay.
In terms of their, the cameras were still much better.
they're leading the pack. So if anything, I think the other brands are left behind. Too little, too late.
Talks Vision saying I would prefer an A7 form factor. Matthew saying I just like the A6000 / form factor. MJ saying I'd like the A7 style body. JP Cassiano is also a larger camera body as well.
Well, Danny, I mean, did you answer the question? Would you have preferred a bigger, similar body type as the A7, or would you rather it kept the the rectangular form factor?
I'm gonna say this: if they can have it this size, this is the EOS M50 right here. And if you look at it in terms of the size compared to the Sony, I know it's kind of hard to see. It's kind of in between. It's kind of in between. This is not really, I'm not doing a very good job here, but I would like to see something kind of like this size. EOS M50 size. Would I like it to be an A7 body size? I'm fine with that too. It's fine. It's okay. I'll deal with it. Let's see here. Angel sort of says no flip out screen, but better battery life.
Yeah, agree.
I'd rather upgrade to full frame. Dre 100 saying if it's the same size as the A7, he'd rather just go with the full frame at that point instead of the APS-C. Let's see here. A7 body. Madness Mobile saying A7 body type will position the A7000 as a pro level. I think potentially that's where it might go. I mean, think about it. If this was like a mini A9, Jason, imagine a mini A9 A7000 for under 2,000, like 1,500, 1,600 potentially in price. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah, okay. You know what? Yeah, that I would probably pick it up for a photography reason as well. If it's going to be like the A9, but an APS-C. Yeah, I like the A9 a lot. It's flipping fantastic. Great camera.
No, I think that's the way it looks like it might be going. And I'm just saying, if this is a mini A9 APS-C body, that's the way they're going to sell more of these cameras. Like it'd be hard not to drive interest into it, because like we've talked before in the past, like between the A7000, right, and the A7 III, if they were priced pretty close, Jason, wouldn't you just want to go straight to the A7 III?
Yes.
Let's say, for example, but what about it's going to make you want to go and get an A7000? Now, if obviously this camera is offering you 20 frames per second, anti-distortion, crazy buffer performance, 4K 60p, you're definitely going to consider this potentially over the A7 III. Like, they've got to give it something that's going to make you pique your interest and want to buy another different camera. So is it going to happen? We really don't know for sure. We're just hoping for an announcement around the Christmas timeframe. That's a hope. And that's where we're shooting for.
It's all rumors, guys.
Yeah.
Just remember that. All rumors. So who knows? Who knows if it's going to be what we're predicting or what the camera sites are predicting right now. I mean, it could be even better than what we are guessing. I mean, the A7 III, we had very low expectations for it. We just thought it'd be a minor bump from the A7 II, but Sony just blew everyone's mind.
Yeah, they killed it.
Got me and Danny giggling like little schoolgirls when we were watching the live.
That was the funniest. In terms of that entire thing they put together was hilarious. Who knows? It might be until WPPI we see something. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
But it's been a while. All right, let's see here. Stephen Myers is saying A6500, a bigger body would be welcomed for this new one. Let's see here. If they can keep the same body type. Some would say they would like the same body type. Salman AKB saying keep the same line as a 6500. Angel Sordo is saying the A7 III is the baby of an A7R III and a Sony A9. Not in terms of autofocusing though. I mean, it's
Scott's review. Throwing out an RX 10.5. Where's our SR6 guy?
You know, an RX 10.5. I mean, it's nice. If it had a larger sensor, it'd be. I don't think they would have the same kind of zoom capabilities, but it would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Other things that were kind of wrapped around on Sony Alpha rumors is that they're still expecting the Sony A7S III to come around early of 20. Well, I don't say early, but in 2019, we're still expecting that probably around March, similar to the time frame that the Panasonic full frame L mount series cameras are going to be announced. Again, the rumored specs are 4K 60p, 422 10-bit external, which I think is kind of a must at this point. Well, the EVF is going to be an improved new stack sensor. And from management, again, talk about discussing that there's going to be some unexpected features in that Sony camera that people aren't expecting. Jason, I know that's kind of like a vague thing, but if there was an unexpected feature in a Sony A7S III, what would be that unexpected feature, you would think? Any ideas? I know, right? Built-in ND filters would definitely be something that people wouldn't expect.
Yeah, built-in ND filter, 10-bit internal. Everything that we're thinking right now is just going to be like,
you know what would be an unexpected feature? A fully articulating screen. That would be a good one.
Presentation. It would just like rotate and the screen just comes out and
people just start screaming for joy. They start crying in tears when they see the fully articulating screen.
Compatible with your PS4.
It now plays your PS4 games, and everyone just like loses their minds.
USB-C.
That is it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be interesting. Just similar to happen to the A7 III. They'll drop something we just weren't expecting. But I think they did have electronic ND technology, and they were improving that on the sensor level, I believe. So maybe they can get it in time. Maybe that's why they had to take a little bit more time. If they got to take a little more time for electronic ND or variable ND built into this onto the camera, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
So
I think everyone's just kind of like already knows. Like if had Sony actually announced something at the time where all these cameras, announced their mirrorless system, that A7S III would probably have just that 4K 60 and all that stuff that we're expecting now. But if they're gonna delay this announcement, they're gonna have to surprise us.
They got to make it worth it. But here's the thing, though. Do you need an A7S III? Is there anybody in the chat that's actually looking for an A7S III right now? Or are they happy with like the A7 Mark III? I would imagine the A7S III crowd is more of the cinema-oriented folks out there. That's my assumption, right? But so my thinking is, what are some of these things that more people in that particular field are wanting that's important to them, where the A7 III is not providing for them? Any thoughts on that, Jason? Is 4K 60p 10-bit maybe external, is that enough, or is there something else cinema people are looking for, you think?
I don't know, man. Like it's just speaking for me personally, myself and I, 4K 60 is something that I would have loved to have seen on the A7R III and the A7 III. No. The low light capability of the A7S II is like freaking bonkers, right? But I don't always constantly find myself shooting in such a pitch dark area that often. So having that amazing high ISO capability of the camera doesn't really appeal to me too much. So, I mean, if you have that with an A7S III and you have the A7S III having the autofocus like the A7 III and the A7R III, I'm all for it. But yeah, at this point with the A7S III, it just has to be like game changing is what people
see. I think what we need to see potentially are higher bitrate options, some form of like RAW. Obviously, I don't think you're going to see a RAW out of the A7S III, but something that's going to give more data bitrate to improve the quality out of the camera. Like you said, potentially even internal 10-bit, but not sure it's going to happen. But something's got to change if they really want it to stand out. That's the way I'm looking at that camera right now. So
S-Log4. S-Log4, new color science. Bam.
Well, I thought we had their cinema camera. What was it called that they were using to shoot the movie with the blue people?
The Venice. The blue people.
The Venice, right?
The
Venice engine or the Venice setup, the color science in there. and incorporate that into maybe the Sony A7S III. I don't know, just a thought out there. But
Yeah.
let's see. I'm just also curious about pricing, like what that's going to be. So what if
3,200, 3,200, or possibly a little more. There are people who are just saying 120 FPS 4K. That'd be intense. That'd be intense.
Oh shoot.
I really think if they're gonna introduce 4K 120, they're gonna have to do it in their FS line first before that gets trickled down to like the A7S III. So I wouldn't be too hopeful for something like that.
I mean, doesn't their like FS7 camera Mark II does that even do 4K 60p?
It does. I think it does
In bursts?
internally,
Or I think it does
but
like 4K 120p or something like that, but in burst.
I don't
think.
Oh, I don't know about that. I know for a fact the FS5 too. You still need like the Atomos in order to output that 4K 60. Like you want to record 4K 60, you still need the Atomos, don't you?
I think so.
Yeah. So unless those are already implemented in those line, I don't know if we'll see it on the alpha cameras.
Let's see. Better color picture profile, 6K sensor. Yeah, what if Sony just goes straight up to 6K?
I don't know. Then the interview say something about it's just not a priority. 6K, 8K.
8K wasn't the priority, but maybe 6K.
Sorry. Oh,
I think it was 8K.
Boy.
But I mean, the sensor technically outputs 6K. It's downsampled to 4K on a 24 megapixel sensor. So if they want 24 megapixels on this next Sony A7S III, and they offered 4K, like 4K 30, and then they offered 6K 30 or 24, and then 4K 60, I think people would lose their minds a little bit.
I lose my mind. Just think of trying to stabilize a 6K footage in a 4K timeline. Ooh, that'd be nice.
I mean, again, it's that thought again. Sony is eventually going to start releasing these higher resolution televisions too, and they definitely want content to meet that as well in the future, right? So, I mean, if they wanted to shock people, I think offering something like 6K would be very interesting. Whether we need it or not is a different story, but hey, people always find a use for that. But I think it'd just be crazy.
Danny, I'm still watching things in 720p, man. They still look good. They still look good on my TV, man.
They'd be targeting a different audience group at this point. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but like I said, everyone is always finding a reason for something. They'll find a way to use it. All right. Yeah. So there we go. Sony
watch us on their 4K TV. I don't know why. We're already capped out at 720p with Google Hangout.
All right. Some other rumored things that are on the horizon. Expecting a Sony 135 f1.8 in early 2019. With the release, quote unquote, rumored release of the A7000, we're going to see an APS-C lens along with that, which kind of makes sense if it's a pro-oriented A7000. I'm hoping they have this mythical, maybe fast zoom f2.8 lens with it. There's been some Sony patents on a 500 and 600 millimeter f5.6 FE lens. So that's on the books. Whether we'll see a lens out soon on that is to be questioned. And I think on their roadmap, there was shown a 200 to 600 FE lens on their roadmap. So whether that's going to come around by next year, we don't know, but it'd be nice to kind of stretch out the line of coverage that their lens lineup has to offer. And any of those interest you, Jason, by any chance? Obviously, 500, right? 500 millimeter for video.
Yeah, totally 500 millimeter. Nah, I mean, I'm not too crazy on the super telephoto range. Oh man, I don't even know what they can offer now in the current line.
Tilt shift.
Tilt shift
that are into that particular arena. I think
that'd be something cool. I mean, like tilt shift for what? That's for real estate, right? Or even for what? Buildings?
Architectural type work.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you have something like a pixel shift on the A7R III, supplying something like that for real estate or architectural photographers. Just combine that with a dynamic range of these flipping cameras. It'd be insane. Certainly the demands there.
I would imagine at this point you could just adapt the Canon glass because they're all manually focused lensed anyway, so it's not going to really make a big difference if you got a tilt shift from Canon. But they will.
Yeah. They'll make it. They'll make it for the Sony guys.
Yeah,
they don't want. They don't. I don't think they want people adapting Canon lenses anymore.
I would assume that. I just don't know. Like I'm saying, Canon has a lot of lenses available, so it just depends on how long it would take for them to bring in a tilt chip. But I don't know how many people in the chat personally are using tilt chips currently today. So I haven't. I think I've played with one once or twice, but not having used it for personal use. All right. Let's see here. Sigma. Oh, and also some really interesting things going on right here. We have Tamron. I think. I guess these are still rumored in the horizon, but it looks like they're looking to see about a 100 to 400 f5 to 6.3 zoom lens, as well as a full frame 70 to 200 f2.8. As far as something to look forward to in the horizon. And I think that's going to be very interesting. I'm surprised it's a 70 to 200 f2.8 FE. I wonder if they were maybe considering an 80 to 200, something that'd be a smaller form factor compared to like their 28 to 75.
20 to 75 was an absolute hit.
It definitely was. So I'm hoping that they can find a way to make their 70 to 200 or whatever that model is going to be a little bit more compact. I think that'd be great. But if not, having another option for a 70 to 200 on the Sony side of things is going to be good, because unfortunately the Sigma 70 to 200 Sport is not going to have like a native E-mount version. So that's going to sting a little bit in terms of just options for people, although you can use the Sigma MC11 adapter for that. So more options coming around the corner, which is a good sign. And then finally, we're expecting Sigma. I think we already saw this already. Sigma to release full frame mirrorless lenses that are geared specifically to full frame mirrorless. The majority of the Sigma lenses that have been out so far for full frame or the APS-C side of things, like this one here, like a Sigma 18 to 35, most of them have been DSLR lenses that have just been adapted for mirrorless, like their newer E-mount lenses. But because of their L mount setup, and I think Sigma is going to release their own mirrorless camera as well, they're going to be building lenses specifically developed for full frame mirrorless. So we'll see what that looks like going into the future. My curiosity is just really, are they going to make lenses for Sony FE, the Z mount, the Z mount, and as well as the RF mount? That's going to be very interesting. So Sigma's going to be very busy. Sigma's going to be very busy.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to manage all of that stuff. And that was something they asked the CEO, that having to manage so many different mounts is going to be very tricky in terms of resources and how they're going to do that. We talked about the bag already. And then they say by Photo Keynote 2019 in May, expect a Canon EOS R to be announced, a high-resolution version, which it seems to be expected. And hopefully they address some of the main issues they've been having with it. All right. So that's all of the main things as far as news topics I wanted to hammer out before we quickly talk about the Canon EOS R briefly. So anything in the chat, Jason, you've noticed?
Just a lot of people saying the 6000 being the smaller form factor, Sony coded with it. So I guess it's good. It's a good thing. And then not much aside from what we already talked about. Yeah. Caleb White, EOS RR.
What the R?
Revolution.
Yes, the R stood for revolution, right? All right, so let's go ahead and round off the last bit of story. I'll try to keep it as short as possible. I am going to have a video out on this comparing the Canon EOS R compared to the Sony A7 III and giving my thoughts on it in a more elaborate video. But I'm going to say this right now. I think I was pretty harsh, not just with the Nikon camera, the mirrorless camera, but also the Canon EOS R in terms of what it had to offer. There was a lot of reviews on it, both some positives and a lot of negatives, especially with our good friend, the single card slot that everyone was kind of hammering the camera about. But in terms of just the build quality, Jason, it's a really solid camera. When I first took it out of the case, this is a rental I did from Lens Rental. It's a very solid camera in terms of its build. I like it a lot. The grip is pretty good. My hand fits around it a lot better than the Sony camera, but not by much, in my opinion. But if you had larger hands, it will fit your hands a lot better. Ergonomic-wise, it does feel good. The only issues that I would say that I really had, and everyone already stressed this already, Jason, was this focus, this selector option right here on the EOS R. And so I think Canon, their goal with it was they had a good idea behind it. I think their intentions were good, but I had it set to ISO. And the complaint a lot of people had was that it was easy to knock this particular multi-selector or their touch selector here on the back. And I did find myself bumping into that particular issue while I was shooting like football or sports with it. And then my exposure would change by accident. I'd be like at ISO 6400, and all of a sudden I'd be at ISO 10,000, and it became a problem. What other things? The EVF on. Oh, go for it.
Yeah. Oh, the whole multi-selector thing. You could have it tapped to unlock or something like that, right? Or is that something that will slow you down?
Right. It allows you to prevent an accidental tap, but you have to hold it down for like half a second or something like that. And in my head, I'm like, I'm not gonna wait like half a second to hold it down. So if I hold it down and then boop, it'll activate, and then I can start tapping this particular thing. But that just slows your workflow. It's like if I'm shooting in manual mode, which I do a lot, it's gonna slow me down when I'm taking photos. I want to be able to adjust my exposure right away. So I didn't like that about it. Now, granted, I only set it for ISO. Other people would probably find some other uses for it, but it did become an issue. But granted, Canon, you're typically using the back of the screen to interact with it. The touchscreen interface is really good. The user interface is really good with the Canon system, and I think most people can agree with that. But that's what I really liked about it, and just the user interface. The EVF is really good on the Canon EOS R when I compared it to the Sony A7 III. When I was shooting outdoors during the daytime, I really noticed the EOS R's EVF. It was really clear, very bright, and I could clearly see my images that I was taking, and it looked realistic, like inside of the EVF compared to the Sony. Now, this was during the daytime. However, when I was shooting in the evening, like low light stuff, like Friday Night Football stuff, I didn't really notice a difference anymore. So it seemed as if the difference really made it. I could really tell during the daytime, but when it came to the evening, it wasn't really apparent to me. If that makes any sense, Jason. It seemed about the same thing. It all came out to the same thing at the end of the day, the way I saw it. And then the thing that really frustrated me with this, and I know it wasn't a sports camera, but I use it in that particular environment. There is a major stutter and lag on this camera. This camera only does 5 frames per second in autofocus continuous, and its focus is good. Even with adapted lenses, I wanted to point that out. With adapting lenses with the adapter, it does really well. But when it came to tracking a subject and photographing something like running across from you, the EVF lags really bad. With the A7 III, for example, there's like a blackout, like when you take photos, right? When you're doing a burst, Jason, you can see a burst, but you can still see whatever you're photographing moving across the frame. When you're shooting with the EOS R, there's no blackout. It's just a really long stutter. It just stutters like a doop, doop, doop. So if your subject's running, they've already jumped to a different spot when the camera catches up with the next photo. And again, I know it wasn't directed as a sports camera, but I would expect the performance to be a little bit better than that in terms of it keeping track of the subject. And so it would actually, you'd actually see like this motion blur happen in the EVF, and you're like, did I get the photo or did I not? You weren't really sure. So, but when I did check it later, the photos were in focus, but you had a lack of confidence in it. So I really, at the end of all of this, I gained a huge appreciation for Sony. And that's what I really liked about having experienced and used the EOS R. There's some really cool things that Canon's doing with their camera system. But right now, just to make it pretty quick and easy and summarize this, I still really like the speed and performance of the A7 III. While I was shooting with the EOS R, I was like, man, I really wish I had my Sony A7 III or R3 or A9 instead of the EOS R. But image quality still looked good to me. Performance was still good. There's some really small positives with the EOS R, and the full air taking screen is still a big thing. The C-Log, the 4K looks really good when I was using it. It's just that speed and quickness that you get from the A7 III that just does such a better job compared to the Canon EOS R. So, but I'm just saying right now that Canon is not too far off. I think maybe within a generation or two, you might start seeing parity between the two systems. I think Canon's going in the right direction, and I think hopefully you take that feedback. but I still think it's a decent camera for its first effort. So, but I'm glad I didn't actually buy. I just did a rental on it.
Cool. I mean, like, I think like we were talking about this earlier. It's just a mirrorless 6D Mark II, essentially, with the 4K.
That's what I would say. It's good. It's a good camera.
They don't make bad cameras. They don't make bad cameras. They're fantastic. Everyone loves the color science of it. It's just, we were talking about it earlier. They're not leading the herd. They're not even on par with the herd. They're just still always a little bit behind, always held back a little bit.
They're missing little things. And like I said, for me, to be completely honest, if it did not, I know it doesn't have the built-in stabilization in the camera, but that didn't really bug me too much. If it was shooting at least 8 frames per second with continuous autofocus, I think this would be something worth to consider. Again, if you need dual card slots, you know who you are. And it's just, if you need the redundancy, you're going to need the redundancy. Don't go with this camera. It's not going to be for you, tailored for you. But I think for me, I think if I wanted to use this as maybe a conduit between these two systems, it would have needed like at least a 7 or 8 frames per second on the 8 autofocus continuous, which it didn't have. And that lag on the EVF is something that Canon really needs to address. It was so bad. It's so bad. If you ever get a chance to shoot with it in stores or something, try it out and you'll know exactly what I mean. But other than that, in terms of just still shots, it's really good. Still shooting, it feels very seamless and easy to use over maybe a Sony camera.
And you can tell your image is in focus or not, right? The entire time you were shooting, when you're trying to maybe magnify and just try to grab focus manually, it's all very clear, right? It's very crisp on that.
It's very LCD. What you expect. Yep, it's very clear. It's very clear on the Canon, but they have issues. It's not perfect either. They tried to do something different or try to improve somewhere, but they lacked in other areas. But that's what I'm saying. It's good to see where they're going with this stuff, and you can only hope that they're going to improve on it in the future. And I don't know why, if it doesn't happen to be your camera, don't buy it, right? That's why I went ahead and rented it out and tested it out. And again, I still think right now the best camera right now for full frame, I am going to try and test out the Z6, the Nikon Z6 when I get a chance to. But right now, between these two, the A7 III comes out on top. So, yeah, good job, Sony, man. It really made me appreciate how far Sony's come along with their system. So,
still the king.
All right.
There's a flyer here. In case anyone thought it was weird, I'm just doing this.
Okay. Hey guys, we're gonna just go ahead and take Q&A for the next 5 minutes or so, or 10. Hashtag QA. Drop some questions for us, and that's gonna pretty much wrap up the show. So let's see.
So Vincent Vega was like, "Hey Danny, how do you like the touch bar?" He hates it. Vincent asked or said he didn't like it personally. It wasn't very responsive. Also, one disadvantage I saw was that I couldn't use my focal point with the metering.
I didn't really catch the focal point with the metering thing with the camera. The touch bar, I don't think it's a deal breaker necessarily. I'm just saying that if you're not caught, like, I thought I was going to be able to avoid it, but even when I was just casually shooting in the backyard, I accidentally touched it and it adjusted. But when I was shooting like football in the evening, like an event, you know, the camera comes down. I would have accidentally touched the touch bar, but I was just using it for ISO, and you know, it gave it a little problem. I think the intent is good. I just don't know how it'd be long term. All right.
Chris Stone asked ETA for a 35G Master. I don't know. They already have a 35 1.4. I don't see a reason for them to make a G Master, at least not anytime soon.
Yeah, it'd be nice though.
What would you want? Well, I mean, what would you want to see in a 35G Master that the Zeiss 35 1.4 isn't already providing? Smaller size, or
that would be good, actually.
Yeah. But I think for the most part, they already have a 35 1.4 with Zeiss. I don't think they'll put out something of a G Master anytime soon for that.
Per Anderson saying, did anyone test the new Sigma 40 1.4? I have not. Jason, have you?
I've held it. It was massive.
It's a big lens. Enikad's asking, I just bought the Alpha 6500. Did I make a mistake? I don't think so. I mean, Are you doing stuff with it now? Are you able to do work with it? I mean, if you're doing work with it,
I wouldn't worry too much about it. The 6500 is fantastic. Still really good.
if the A7000 does come out, it's not going to be the same price range. I don't think it would be.
It'd be
be
probably 800 to almost double the cost of the 6500. Like
double?
800 plus more.
You think it's
well,
or you think it's going to be around the $1,600 price range? Because the A6500
price range.
Yeah, I think it's
that's
already
coming down. That's coming down to like what, 1,000 for the 6500.
It has been. It's like $1,000 now.
Yeah.
Retail.
Diamond Cut asks, Danny, do you have any audio problems with your Atomos 5?
For the short amount of time I've used it, I haven't actually piped in enough like test audio into this yet. So I don't want to give you a conclusion on it. It seemed fine when I tested for like a 30-second clip. I didn't have any issues. And that was what I ended up doing though, was I plugged in I just plugged in I actually plugged in a separate audio source into here. So I didn't take it from the HDMI. I plugged in a wireless Rode mic. Sounded fine, but I haven't done enough testing to really give a good answer for that yet. Lost Hero H, 20 to 75 or the 2470 G Master. I think if you own a Sony A9 and you want 20 frames per second, get the 2470 G Master because you get 20 frames per second. 20 to 75 is the best other option.
Yep. Cool.
Salman AKB, if Sony APS-C is priced around 1,700, should we consider buying A7 III? It just depends on the specs and features on on that particular camera.
Yeah.
Let's take a couple more questions, Jason.
Niam, QA, why is only the A7 II on sale but not the others? I think the A7 III is gonna have a sale too, right? I don't know.
Oh, you heard it here first.
Keep on waiting. I'm just guessing, but keep on waiting. I mean, Black Friday hasn't happened yet, and the holidays are rolling in, so at best, there's probably going to be some holiday trade-in deals like they did last year that's going to roll in around that will allow you to trade in your old cameras to get some pretty sweet discount. Wasn't last year like if you trade in a certain camera, you get like $500 off your A9 or something like that?
Yeah, so, but the A9 was still an expensive camera.
Yeah.
Knight Rider 21. If A7000 rumors are true, what lens do you think will premiere with it? Maybe something like a 16 to 50 f2.8, something with a 2.8.
Something
zoom.
Versatile.
Joshua the Red's asking Q&A, what is the best option for a 20mm prime lens for the A7 III? I thought there was a Sigma 20 coming out. There's an 18mm bodice.
That's a good one.
So if you're looking for that range, what's better? Bollywood's asking 6300 or 6500. Obviously, if you need stabilization and better buffer, 6500.
6500.
And cool. John Campbell saying thumbs up the video. Thank you. Appreciate that. And I think we'll do that. Is gonna do it, I think. All right. I gotta let Jason go. We're kind of busy. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us for this Monday live show. Jason, what can people expect from you coming up?
The 24 G Master 25 bodice comparison. That should be coming out this week. So I got my hands on both lenses so I can finally make a comparison that everyone has been asking for with my two A7 IIIs.
This guy.
It burns. My wallet burns. Now I have two A7 III, so
that's good.
Well, Danny, on the other hand, already has a video coming out. You can see it on the back of his room right there.
I don't know if I'm going to even release it now.
Freshly cut. It's right there. He just push the export button.
Dude, I have so many markers for B-roll I got to shoot. I was just like, oh my god. After Jason's workshop on B-roll. So,
B-roll.
All right. So yeah, the video probably around the Canon the Canon EOS R, kind of talking about that. But yeah, that's going to do it for me on my end. Thank you again for joining us for Monday Live. The next show will be on Jason's channel, and hopefully we'll have more information on deals because people are asking about that. But yeah, Black Friday is coming up soon, so we'll see you then. Peace.
Goodbye, everyone.